Hello everyone. Good morning. Good morning everyone. Is my voice is audible clearly for everyone? Yes. So yeah, before session, I'll just brush up on the today's thing. So what I'm going to explain and what we are going to discuss in the today's meet, and what are all the things we have to cover up in the today's sessions. So yeah, as we discussed in the previous meet yesterday. So we have gone through how projects has been divided, how what are all the different areas has to be covered in the project, even in the all considering all the parts of front end and the back end, and also we also gone through some breakdown analysis of the marks distributions and all, and what are all the features future integration, that is AI. We have gone through such many multiple aspects. So so uh, like for today's, there will be no tasks for you guys, but the thing is, i'll I'll explain about the front end part. How you created the prototypes, how you should create a prototypes in the AI studio and all, and how you could implement how it breakdowns all every individual screens and front end part, and how you can implement those things in the Android studio. We'll discuss all these things in the today's meet, and also the I guess you all know about the project management, right? The project management the class has been taken for you. So the only thing is you have to work on the project managements. So in coming couple of days, the projects will be assigned for individuals. It will be posted in Discord and all. So after assigning you the projects, you can start your work. Until unless, work on the project management. Is that clear for everyone? Yes. So yeah, give me a minute. I'll share my screen, and we'll start the today's meet. Yeah. So first, I'll just it's already been class. I guess already the front end meet has been done in the previous weeks. But yeah, it will be like freshing up once again. But this time we'll go up in the detail, and so that while after explaining the front end part, make sure that you also try on the front end part, exploring some of the tools, and so that you will get an idea to pitch yourselves in the major project and all. So yeah, is my screen is visible for everyone? Yes. So I guess everyone explored the Google AI Studio, right? So everyone got an idea how to use an Google AI Studio and what are all the different features. It's already been taught by Thirumal sir and all. He took you into the multiple different features on one particular sessions in the morning sessions, so that you got an idea of exploring every different tools over there. And also how the prompting has to be done for the building and individual screen and all. So basically, the front end part is all about the majorly when you're building any prototypes or any blueprints, as we discussed in the yesterdays. It is the first step major type to start your project, because as you know, before starting any of the types or any of the projects, the prototypes or the blueprints will be the main major aspects first moving to the next step. So it will be like a first copy of your app. It should be with the safe part, so that you could have build easily in any Android Studio and all. So yeah, as I said, you today we'll learn how an idea becomes a real mobile apps, starting from front end design and to build it in an Android Studio. Yes. So we'll start up with the Google AI Studio. So basically, as I said, you prompting is very important factor, very important aspects of building any prototypes or any blueprints. It depends on how you prompt, how you got an idea, how it's be going to be done and all. So yeah, so basically what is prototype, it's a visual model of your app before coding and all. You can say it shows how the app looks, and it shows how the user interacts, and there is no coding needed for the prototype. It will automatically, the coding part will generate on its own. As you can see, there are many different coding parts over here, so it will be generated automatically without any errors or mistakes. It's just like a blueprint, as I said you. And tools you can use for building prototypes, there are many multiple tools. You could have go with the Google AI Studio, Figma, Sketch and all. Most probably most developers use uh, Figma, Google AI Studio and all, because it's very easy and collaborative to build this kind of such a prototype. So I explored the Google AI Studio and made a prototype on it. So as you can see in the previous meet, what we have discussed the earliest week. So this was my prototype or the blueprint I have built before I implementing to the Android Studio. So this is the thing and all. So the key elements of the UI basically comes with the many aspects. They are layout, components, navigation and all. So this was all the major aspects we have gone through, we have discussed in the previous early meetings. Yes. So when it comes to the layout, you have to get an idea of how structure of the screen be done. And for example, header, body, footer and all. So this will be considered as a layout of your project. And when it comes to the components, there are multiple components. So for example, going with the buttons, text fields, images and all. And next, moving to the navigation, where it comes with the moving between screens. For example, moving between the screens, it's all about like a logic, as we discussed in the previous meet about the MVVM part, where model view model pattern. So in that pattern, when we goes with the logic flow, so it includes the navigation includes in that part. For example, now see, so this is my prototype, as I said you. So see, so the flow or the logic between the app is shown over here. So this is called a navigation. See, now we are in the splash screen. When I click on any administration management, it should goes for the admin login. So this is the logic behind it. So it is the moving between screens. See, now I'm in the login page. I'm giving any login part. and once I'm logging, it should be going to the home page. So yeah, this is how the navigation works, this is how the logic works in the front end part. You have to think in such a way that there should be, it should go in a sequential order, there should be no any misconceptions or any crashes in between over there. There should be in a clear structure. When you are moving from one thing to the next part or the next other things, it should go in such a way that, yeah, so this is the number one order, the number orders in the number one is first, second, next is the second, next is the third. Yeah, you have to go in such a way, you have to plan in such a way like this. So in the prototype, before you're building a prototype, you have to make a plan in such a way that when you're building, when you're implementing any things, or when you're building any blueprints of your project, what you're getting first, like think of first, for example, see, if you're getting employee performance tracker as a project, then first you have to build a prototype or a blueprint for that project. Yeah, so like how you're going to do that is, go to any of your, you can take any of the tools for building your prototypes or blueprint. It's on your convenient. So if you, for example, say, as I said, you, if you got an employee monitoring or employee performance tracker as a project, now next, the next second step you have to go with this, you have to build a prototype or you have to build a blueprint. So the major thing is, and when you got the project, the first thing you have to do is you have to research on the project. You have to you have to research many things. For example, see, employee monitoring system, employee monitoring software. So what are all the things should be come in employee monitoring system? So basically, as one of the project, as I said, you employee monitoring software, we also discussed that project in the yesterday's meet. In the yesterday's meeting, what we have discussed, so guys, like employee monitoring software, they have given some key elements, key features of the project. So what the things has to be come in the in this project or in this app. So exactly the same thing, what are all the projects you are getting, first thing you have to do is research on the projects, get an idea what are all the things has to be come over here, what are all the different features has to be implemented, and also go with the advanced features. So if I'm implementing advanced features, what I can implement on this particular project, on this particular app. So you have to first thing once you get your project assigned, first thing you have to do is research the project, get an idea of the project. First get a grip of the project, understand the project, just don't implement simply, don't just go to any of the studios, any of the AI tools, and don't just start like, I have this project, so give me a prompt and build a prototype. No, it's not like that. First research it, explore the things on it. You have to get an idea of the project, you have to be confident with that term. Like, yeah, so this is my project, so this is for, even if you research and if you go with, when there will be like a presentations for you and all, you will get an idea, so you will get a confidence that, yeah, so this was the features I have implemented, so this is the logic how it works. So it should go in such a way like this. So yeah, once after you're researching all about your projects and you're getting an ideas, then after that, make a note of the research or the project, or let it be where you're researching and all. Then you, as I said, you on your convenient, take a project on your own, like build a prototype on your own in any of the studios or any of the tools. So yeah, after building, so when you're building it, please make sure that prompting is very important. So in fact, I made a mistake of, like, when I'm building the prototype or the blueprint, first I just gave a like, yeah, so the employee performance tracker is my project, so I thought of building a prototype, or I thought of building blueprint. So build me a prototype so that I should implement in Android Studio. So and add some features in it. So I just gave like this. So it gave it. I'm not saying it didn't give the project. It gave the prototype and all, but it was just a minimalistic. There was no clean, clear structure for the project. There was no, even there was no clear logic on it. So make sure that while building the prototype, be clear with the prototype, be confident and be clear while explaining the prompt clearly. The prompt is, I guess, the prompt was like it's gone in my Google AI Studio, or I could have show how the prompts has been given over there. So yes, so prompting is a very important factor. As I said, you have to give it clearly all individual aspects, all individual things, individual factors, only until or unless you can build the best prototype for your app. See, as you can see, and also while giving the prototype, make sure that you're mentioning all individual aspects. You have to break down your app. For example, there are many screens, like splash screen, login screens, admin dashboard screen, with inside the admin dashboard screen with the multiple features, add employee. When you go to the add employee screen, and when you go to the employee list screen, yeah, you will look into the many different screens and all. So you have to break down it. You have to go with one on one. You have to go with every individual steps over there. And the basically, like the key elements of the UI, user interface, is, as I said, the layouts, components, and the navigation and all. So prototype flow, I'll just give an example of the prototype flow. As I said, how the flow should be look like means, as we discussed previous and all, as we discussed yesterday about the flow logic and all, how the flow should look like. For example, see, this is a splash screen. So basically, according to the sequential order, so this is the first screen of the app should be there. So when I click on the next logic screen, or the next particular screen, should be admin login screen. Then after entering this, then it should move on to the admin so this is how the logic should work. This is how the logic should work on your app. As yesterday's in yesterday's meet also, we have discussed on like how the logic has been going between from one screen to another screen. So make sure that the logic should be correct. So before doing that, the first thing you have to do is, all is the first all the thing you have to do is about how you're prompting and all, and how you're exploring the things. So this is how it works. So this is how it's going to be done. So yeah, basically the first thing you have to do is prompting and all, and after that, logic should be there in a very particular and sequential order. So make sure that the logic is very correct and all while building it. So just give me a minute, I'll be back. So yes, as we are discussing, yeah, as we are discussing, the basically the prompting is very important, and the logic. So before going to the logic, so that's the reason you have to explore how the things is to be done, how the things has to be gone like in this way. Particularly the logic is a very important factor. Without any logic and all, you cannot get an idea of how from one part it's moving to the another and all. So yeah, and as I said you, there should not be like any mismatching, or there should not be any like the some minor missing factors over there. For example, as I said you, after when once you click on the splash, after entering the splash screen, it should not directly come to the home page. Or when I click on the login, it shouldn't come for next for the splash screen. So it should not go in such a way like that. So it has to be in a correct manner. So yeah, prototype is just like an making or practicing to build an app, to build a real app in the Android Studio. It's just like a practicing part. So yes, guys. So next, moving to the next thing, that is why prototype is important, because it saves the development times, and it helps you to visualize the data, and also it is very easy to change the design and all. So fixing design is easier than fixing the code. Yes. So this is the reason why you have to build the, why the prototype is very important and all. As you know, like, prototype, you can change any of the things. Just give me a second. Yes, as you can, as I said, you in the prototypes, you can say, like, um it saves the developing time. For example, compared to the Android Studio, when you're building an app and all, it takes like hours of time to building an app in the Android Studio, because in the Android Studio you have to work on every individual factors. For example, I'm just taking an example on my experience and all. See, this is how the Android Studio works. I'll just explain you in just a seconds in this way. As look into the screen now. So see, in Android Studio, how Android Studio you have to work on is, you have to give every individual work on it. For example, when I click on the add employee, see, the clicking button should work on the Android Studio. You have to make sure that the click should enable. After clicking, you it should exactly navigate to the add employee page, and after opening that employee page, then again you have to go with the different, you have to add the different particular fields. For example, employee name, department, KPI score. Then after that, you have to again the add employees button. After that, again you have to enable the add employee button. So then after entering all these things, then you have to make sure to work on the employee list screen. Exactly. So comparing to the prototype and the real Android Studio, your working is very totally different. In Android Studio, you have to work on your own with every individual aspects, every individual sector. But when you are building the prototype, it's very easy. Like, once you are giving the prompt, it will build entire project of your app. So yes, it saves the time of the development, and it helps you to visualize. And also, this is the major factor, front end part. It's like 50-50 of your, it's almost covers the 80 percentage of your marks, because all we have break down some scenarios yesterday. So yeah, visualizing is very important while building these things. So until or unless, see, you visualize your datas, visualize your ideas, then once you're being okay, once you're being get a firm decision, yeah, I have built a best prototype, now I have to build this in the Android Studio. So basically, this is how the prototypes helps you in building all the factors of front end factors and all. Backend will go on with the next sessions and all. So this is how the prototype should go in this way. So yes, now moving to the Android Studio. Yes. Now moving to the Android Studio. So see, so this was just an idea to give like how you should create a prototype. So it's already been mentioned all the features for you in some previous sessions. So I'm not going to explain the same features and again and all. So I'm just giving an idea to confirm and to build the exact prototype, to explore or to communicate or to build the same thing in the Android Studio and all. So now I'll just open the Android Studio. Just give me a second. So yes, yeah. Before Android Studio is loading, guys, just give me a minute. I'll share that. So before doing that, we'll just uh, get up. We'll just brush it up on those Android Studio recalling parts. So basically, everyone knows like what is an Android Studio and how it's going to be done and all. So we'll just recall once again those things. Android Studio, you know, everyone. It's basically official tool to build the Android apps and to test the applications and all. So it converts your designs into working mobile app. Yeah. So Android Studio, why we are using this? Because basically what the design you're building or the prototype you're building and you're getting like you're getting a firm decisions on it. So this is my final thing and all. So the Android Studio helps you to convert it to the working mobile app and all. So I'll just explain the project structure. So, see how the project structure should be like is it's a simple I'll just give you a simple explanation on it. So, the project structure should go like the in this way: activity, XML layout, and Java or the Kotlin code. So, this is how the project structure should be. Yeah. So, this is how the project structure should be go in this manner. And also, you know, like in activity you have to come across with these particular points, so where each screen has one activity. And for example, you could have take the login activity, where in the login activity you could have see the multiple logins and all for the single individual page. And yeah, and coming to the XML layout, when it comes to the XML layout, we'll get an idea what's XML layout. Basically, when it comes to XML layout, it comes the UI designing codes, for example, button texts, etc., button text and all, etc. These things. So, and when it comes to the Java or the Kotlin code, it is all about logic. What's the logic behind your app and how handles clicks on the data and all. So this is how your project structure should look like. Wait, I'll just show you the Android Studio so that you will get an idea of how the project structure should be present in that thing. So I guess my screen is visible for everyone, right? Yes. So yeah, as you can see in the project structure, there is many different folders and all. Basically, the main things: activity, XML layouts, and Java or the Kotlin code. So yeah, when it comes to the project structure, as you're looking here, there are what the things you're building, all the things has to be stored in the project structure. For example, as you can see in the left panel, there is many different aspects: attendance store, credential store, fire store, goal, KPI, leave, report, tasks, navigation, and glass morphic surface, tactile buttons. So basically, as I said, you there will be every individual, every single things has to be implemented on these particular areas and all. So yeah, the in the Android Studio, how you're building the front end part means, I'll just explain you very simple manner. See, in Android Studio, what the things of what you're building and all. So don't get confused and all. First, as I said, you what the prototype have, what the prototype you build it, and or the what the blueprint you have built it. After that, after building that, make sure that take a prompt. For example, you want to implement a feature called add employee feature in the admin dashboard. So make sure take a prompt that like what the prompt you have been used building for the prototype and for the blueprint, use the same prompt, use the exact prompt to build or to implement the feature, but make sure that, as I said you, it is totally different. Blueprint is totally different from the Android Studio. As a blueprint can, like in the Google AI Studio, if once the prompt is given, I want this app, so build a prototype, it will build entire things, but it will be not done same thing in the Android Studio. In Android Studio, you have to make a point, you have to consider all individual steps, all individual aspects. You have to give prompt for individual steps. For example, I want this feature in admin dashboard. So that's the first step. I want add employee feature in the admin dashboard. So after giving the prompt, then add employee features will present over there. Then next, after clicking, you have to give a logic like when I click on the add employee page, so these things has to be present. So next, after that, next the logic will works. Then after the logic opens, then next you have to again give prompt what are all the things, what are all the fields has to be present inside the add employee page. So the add employee page should look like this. So make sure that you are giving in such a way that you are breaking down all individual aspects for building the front end part. Yes, as I explained you, the flow should be very clear structure. User clicks button, then the code runs, then the new screens opens. So in this way, it has to be work on it. So the basic components in the Android is minimum basic components. We are going with the text view, buttons, edit text, the text view which displays the text, and in the buttons view where the click action works, and next coming to the edit text where user inputs and all. So in this way you have to go in different aspects. So I'll just give you a simple example for I'll just give you an example for login app. You can see user enters the username or password, which is the login page. Then he clicks login button. After clicking login button, the code checks the data where it matches the login credentials and the password and all. Then it opens the dashboard. So see, this is the simple example for you how the first login page works. I'll just show you that part also in the Android Studio. I'll By showing that I'll explain you guys. Just give me a second. So see, this is the splash screen. When I click on the administration management, now it will goes to the admin login. As I said, you in the admin login, now I'm entering the user credentials. Now see, once I enter the passwords and user credentials as the password and the mail and all, so it checks the data of it. After checking, it will analyze the data. After if it matches the data, then it opens the dashboard. So in this way, it has to work for what you're building also. And also I'll just explain you the short terms on the backend, that is as you know already know, where app can store data locally, or it can connect to the databases, or the API. It's the backend part we'll discuss more deeper in the further classes and all. So now, this is the very important factor, that is how to connect prototype to the Android app. This is very important part. So like prototype is basically, it is equals where prototype is equals to the blueprint or the design, where in the Android Studio you are implementing it. So I'll just call it as prototype equals design blueprint, and where Android Studio equals implementation. The steps, like I'll just explain one more thing. First, you're designing the prototype in any of the tools. Then you're recreating the UI using the XML, and after that adding functionalities using the code in the Android Studio. So this is how you're connecting the prototype to the Android app. So now see, first, before you're building an app, or before you're getting an app project name and all, first thing you have to make sure that you have to explore the things, you have to get an idea. For example, for what reason you're building. See, for example, for my app name is employee performance tracker. The purpose of it, I have the purpose of the app is to track the employee performances, to monitor tasks, evaluates the productivity and all. And I also make the two different users, admin and the employee users, where the admin manages employees and the employee update in this work. So I have to think of it, so that for what reason, for the what purpose you're building. So what are all the uses from your app? So you have to make sure that, and you have to make a research. Then you have to start a building or working on it. So now I'll just give you the scenario of real scenario of this app, so that you will get an idea how it works and all. See, for example, I'm explaining on my terms on my app. See, a manager logs into the app, where he sees the when the manager logs into my app, where he could see the employee lists, assigning task page, an employee complete task page, and also the performance page, leave, attendance. He could have seen these multiple features in his particular dashboard when he logs into app. So, and also basically my advantages of my app, like it helps for the easy tracking, save time, and improves the productivity. Better helps for the better decision making and all. So I'll conclude this front end part just by saying that front end prototype is all about which helps you to design the app visually, and Android Studio helps you turn that design into a real world application. So this is the major concluding part. So remember the thing, front end prototype helps you have to understand the different factors. The front end prototype helps only to design the app visually, but the Android Studio helps you to turn the app into real world application. So make sure that both the things are very important when it comes to the front end, or both the blueprint and your building, what you're building in the Android Studio. So yeah, so in today's session we have gone through the front end part, how the front end part has to be done, and before moving to, I'm also giving like I'm also explaining, you have to break down the things. Don't forget to break down the things. Break down the things is like yeah, implementing all different features and all. So it's called the breakdown. For as I said you, The Android Studio doesn't give everything in a one single shot. You have to analyze all the different features, different screen, different parts, one by one. Only after that you could have built such a beautiful front end part and all. So this is the major aspects. And like we'll discuss the project management, what the project management has been discussed in the classes for you. So now there will be no tasks for you due to some regarding platform things and all. So now the things you have work, now you work on the project management also, and make sure that to practice the building prototypes on any apps. You can take any of tab topics on your own. So practice to build a prototype and all, and practice to implement in the Android Studio also. So that which helps you in the further project to build a better app with a clean, clear structure and without any confusions and all. So now only practice it on, and also majorly work on the project management also. So this is all about the today's session, guys. So I guess everyone got an idea of the front end part and the prototype. Am I clear, right? So did everyone got an idea of prototype and the front end, right? Yes. So yeah, before concluding, I would just like to say, please make sure that implementing all the different things, all the different scenarios in every, there will be like many things. For example, I'll give you, there should be overview of your project, objective should be there, users, I'm just explaining on my app, users, front end prototype, prototype screens, user flow, and why prototype is using developing tools, app structure, UI components, working flow, data handling, and yeah, this all comes under in these front end aspects. So make sure you're in a very correct in a very correct path to building a front end part or building any blueprint on prototype and all. So practice on these things, you will get a more grip, will get a more idea on these particular aspects. So by this I'm going to conclude the today's meet. We'll meet up in the evenings, mid evening meet, the doubt resolving session. So put your doubts on the discussion forum. We'll take a note on it and we'll discuss in that evening note. So thank you one and all. It was a very good day. So start working on the start working or start practicing of a front end part and all. So thank you one and all. Have a good day.